Hello dear student, how are you all? I think everyone are fine there. So student, today we are going to begin with the part 2. Yes, the part number 2. The name of the lesson is The Gift of the Magi, written by O. Henry, and it is a prose 3 of book number 1. So student, before beginning with the part 2, okay, prose 3, the gift of the Magi, just recall it what you have learned from the previous video. In the previous video we have seen there were two characters, one is Della and another one is Jim. Della is a woman and Jim is a male. Okay, so both are saving the amount to purchase the gift, a precious gift, on the occasion of the Christmas Eve. So here we starts with the Della, where the Della goes outside and she used to bargain with the shopkeeper to save the pennies. Pennies is a small amount of money, what we have discussed in the previous class. If the small amount of money is saved, then cents and dollars can be well saved. So this Della is working hard to save the amount to purchase the gift for the Jim. Then what happens here? Here, though Jim is also working somewhere in the hand of the owner, and the owner reduced his salary from $30 per week to $20 per week. Now $10 okay has been reduced from his salary, and both are in the state of contradiction. Now what to do? He had reduced the salary, and how our expenses goes now? Then we have to struggle hard. We have to reduce our expenses. Though if we try to reduce our expenses, then how could it will be possible? Then how could we survive in such a city? And we have to pay $8 per week for a flat or rent. And in the previous video we have learnt about the flat, in which condition they are living. They are not beggar, but they assume themselves as a beggar. Okay, so this is what we have learned in the previous video. So student, let's begin with the paragraph number 6 and what is there in the remaining portion. Let's discuss it thoroughly, and if you know about this lesson well, and you will get a better understanding if we listen the lesson thoroughly and patiently without getting disturbed, okay, while watching this video. So student, let's be started with the remaining portion of the part number 2. Okay, so here we have a textbook. So some of you might be got the textbook from your seniors, it is well and good, and some of you have a app, okay, of the textbook. So kindly open that app in another phone. Okay, open it and see each and every sentence where I am reading and what you are understood by me. So have a very good glance of it. Okay, now come here, the paragraph number 6, what it says: Della finished her cry and attended to her cheeks with a powder rag. Then what happens? So they were in a tense, both Della and Jim, because salary was being reduced by his owner or by his master. Then what to do now? Now Della is crying, how could we save the amount? Though we are trying our best to save the amount on the occasion of the Christmas Eve, then how could we? And all we are here now. The $10 has been reduced from your salary. Now what we will do? So they are in a tense mood. She stood by the window and looked out dully at a grey cat walking a grey fence in a grey backyard. So in a hypertensive manner, she went beside to the window and she started glancing outside the window, and she is seeing one grey yard, even the grey cat walking on the grey fence. So all three are correlated. All of them are grey, grey, grey. Okay, and she is observing that grey cat walking on the grey backyard on the grey fence. Okay, tomorrow would be Christmas Day, and she had only $1.87 with which to buy Jim a present, and she's thinking while watching that scenario, tomorrow is a Christmas Eve, and on that Christmas Eve what I will do? What can I think about this? And how could I purchase a present, a gift for my husband? So it is a big question for Della. It is a big question for Della. Okay. Then she had been saving every penny she could for months with this result, and she is trying her best to save the money and to collect the money, a sufficient money to purchase a gift for, yes, Jim. Then $20 a week doesn't go far. She's talking only $20 per week. This is what a salary of this my husband. It doesn't go far. It will get finished within a few days. Then what we will do afterwards? She's thinking about this. Expenses had been greater than she had calculated. She's thinking, oh no, there is too expensive expenses. I have to spend more and more amount. Though it is not sufficient, the amount $20 salary is not sufficient, and how could he reduce the salary of yours? So she is asking a question with herself again and again because she is so tense mood. Then they always are only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim. She is thinking again. Her Jim. Many a happy hour she had spent planning for something nice for him. What she is thinking? From last some couple of hours, I am planning to purchase something very precious for my beloved husband, but I couldn't. So what is the issue here? Something fine and rare and sterling, something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim. So I want to purchase something special, something sterling. Sterling means something good, a good enough. To whom? To my husband. So my husband would be deserving candidate, a deserving person of my gift, because this is what a love from my side to my husband. She's thinking about this. Okay, so in the 6th paragraph we have learned how she is planning herself in her own mind how to save the money to purchase the present and to gift on the occasion of the Christmas Eve to her husband. Okay, understood? Now let's begin with the paragraph number 7. There was a pier glass between the windows of the room. So pier glass, a piece of the glass, a decorative glass which is hanged on the wall. So it is called pier glass. Okay, between the windows of the room, and it is in between the windows of the room. Perhaps you have seen a pier glass in a $8 flat. So one question is asked by the writer. Perhaps you have been seen the pier glass in such a $8 rented home. So it is a question, okay, from the writer to the readers. A very thin and very agile person may, by observing his reflection in a rapid sequence of longitudinal strips, obtain a fairly accurate conception of his looks. Then what happened? See, these pier glasses can be kept here in the $8 flat rented room, and she is explaining about her husband. See, a very thin and very agile person. He is a very thin, a very silent person. Then what she is explaining about him? Okay, by observing his reflection in a rapid sequence of longitudinal strips, obtain a fairly accurate conception of his looks. So she is telling about the characters of her own husband. So student, mark the paragraph number 7. Here you will get the characters of the Jim. Okay, from where? From a very thin and very agile person, me. So here you will get the characters. Fine. Then what she is telling? Della, being slender, had mastered the art. So Della, okay, in the sense of, okay, slender. A slender means, okay, thinking more and more about the person, and she mastered and she made one art, okay, in the mind about her own husband. And she is telling about her own husband, and she is giving the character sketch of her own husband by explaining there in the paragraph number 7 that he is very thin, agile, a silent person. If you see him again and again, he looks like the longitudinal lines which were there on the earth. So it seems a very, okay, silent, a very peaceful and a very patient form of person. She's telling about him. And she had imagined a art about his own husband body structure. Okay, now comes to the 8th paragraph. Suddenly she whirled from the window and stood before the glass. Her eyes were shining brilliantly, but her face had lost its color within 20 seconds. Rapidly she pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. Then what happens? And she is watching there outside the window. She turned quickly. As soon as she turned quickly, and her eyes, which were shining, now they became so bright and ugly. Now they became so ugly. And what happened? In such a very fast manner, her hairs, big hairs, which were tied up behind the forehead, they were fallen down, and those hairs touched to the ground, to the floor, which is available there. Then what happens? Those hairs length and the width is too much. Though these hairs were very long. Whose? Della's hairs. So here in the paragraph number 8, you will get the character sketch of the Della. Paragraph number 7, where Della expresses about the characteristic of her own husband, and here in the paragraph number 8, you will get some characteristics of the Della. Okay. Now comes to the paragraph number 9. Now, there were 2 possessions of the James Dillingham Youngs, in which they both took a mighty pride. So here, there were 2 possessions of the James Dillingham Youngs, in which they both took a mighty pride. So there were the 2 possessions. Okay, a possessions means something which is gifted by the ancestors, or something they have, okay, by their own. It's called possessions. So there are the 2 possessions, okay, which belong, and which is a very mighty pride, which brings a pride to their facial expressions, to their attitude. Okay, one was Jim's gold watch that had been his father's and his grandfather's. So they had one gold watch which is given to the Jim by his father and by his great and grandfather. Okay, so there are the 2 possessions he is telling. The other was Della's hair. Another possession is Della's hair. Okay, so here the writer is explaining that this Jim and Della have 2 possessions. How many possessions? Okay, 2 possession. What do we mean by the word possession? Possession means, okay, it means you are saving. Possession means you are saving from last many days. So here Jim had, so Jim had, okay, golden watch, a golden watch which was gifted to him by his grandfather and great grandfather, which is golden watch which was gifted to him by his father and great grandfather. Okay, and another possession, this is a first position, we can mark it down first. So another possession they have, okay, Della's big long hair is another possessions. Okay, so these couples have 2 possessions. One is golden watch and another Della's big hair. So what they will do from these possessions? Okay, what is the use of it? Can anyone guess here in the story? No one. Let's begin what they will do with these 2 precious possessions. Fine. Now the other was Della's hair. Had the Queen of Sheba lived in the flat across the air shaft, Della would have let her hair hang out of the window some day to dry, just to depreciate Her Majesty's jewels and gift. Just to depreciate Her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Okay. See, now what is happening? Do you know a Queen of Sheba? Queen of Sheba. It is mentioned here on the paragraph number 9. A Queen of Sheba is a queen, and she taken the gifts to the king, and his name is Solomon. His name is Solomon. So what do you know about the Solomon? Solomon is a good justice king, and he used to give the justice from his court to each and everyone, and he had a very big kingdom, and where it was situated? In Israel. Okay, this Queen of Sheba, okay, takes a many number of gifts to present to the king Solomon, and here the Queen of Sheba's title is given to whom? To Della. So which figure of speech it is? Yes, it is metaphor. So Queen of Sheba can be guessed here in the form of Della. So Della want to give a gift to her husband Jim. Okay, she want to provide him a gift. Then what happens? So what she do? She just take out her hairs, a big long hairs, and she keep it outside the window for a drying purpose. So those hairs are very precious one, a very long hairs, and now she want to depreciate those hairs. Depreciate means decreasing the value of those hairs, because she want to give up those hairs to purchase something precious for her husband. Okay, then see here this line. Hair hang out of the window some day to dry, just to depreciate Her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Okay, just to depreciate. Okay, just to reduce the values of Her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Okay. Had King Solomon been the janitor with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out his watch every time he passed, just to see him pluck at his beard from envy. Just pluck at his beard from envy. So what is happening? In the same manner, a King Solomon used to hide his whole gold. Okay, he used to hide his currency, even very precious things of the kingdom, somewhere in the basement of the king, or somewhere in the basement of the kingdom. Then no one is allowed to go there in the basement. In the same manner, Jim used to wear his golden watch in his hand each and every day, and he never going to forget it behind. And he used to rub his beard, okay, when someone used to watch his watch which is there on his left wrist. So keep it away from the enemy, keep it away from the enemy. Okay, someone comes and stole him, so he having some threat. So they used to keep their very important two possessions with them. Della used to keep her hair with her, and here the Jim used to keep his precious watch with him all the time. Then so this is what you have learned in the 9th paragraph. You learned in the 9th paragraph they had two possessions. One, they had a very big hairs, who? Della, and he had a very good watch of golden color, of a golden watch, a golden metal watch with Jim, and they used to keep their precious thing with them. So student, let's begin with the 10th paragraph. So now Della's beautiful hair fell about her, rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. Now Della's hairs are so beautiful, and they looks like cascade of brown waters. Cascade of brown waters is taken from the Bible, taken from the Christ book, and it gives our personification. It gives a simile, a figure of speech to the Della's hair. Fine. It reached below her knee and made itself almost a garment for her. Now, whenever she opens her hair, her hair just fell down and touched to the bottom on the floor, and it is too long, and the length of the hair comes nearby to her knee. Okay, and made itself almost a garment for her. And whenever she opens her hair, long hairs, it seems that she is wearing a garment. She is wearing her dresses over her body, because such a long hairs she had. So here in the 10th paragraph you will find something about the hair of which belongs to Della, a characteristics of the Della's hair. Then once she faltered for a minute and stood still while a tear or two splashed on the worn red carpet. Okay, once she faltered and what happens now? Della start crying. So now she feel very sympathy, empathy in her own heart, and she start crying. Okay, and this is a cry for giving up her hair for the precious gift which belongs to Jim. Okay, and the tears start falling down on the carpet. Okay, then comes to the 11th paragraph. So what she decided for her, then why she is crying, this is what we are going to learn in the coming paragraphs. On 11th one, on went her old brown jacket, on went her old brown hat, with a whirl of skirts and with a brilliant sparkle still in her eyes. She flirted out of the door and down the stairs to the street, and she is wearing the dresses, she is wearing the garments and all dresses. Okay, and she is now going downside to the stairs because she want to go somewhere where she will get money. From where she will get money? She had only 1.87 dollars in the form of cent, and from where she will get money? So this is a big question. Now she is going to sell out something very precious which belongs to her. So student, what is the precious of Della? Yes, Della's first possession what we have discussed, Della's big hair. Now she is going to sell it. Let's read what happens. So come here on the page number 12. Where she stopped, the sign read Mim Sovereign. Okay, and she stopped there and the sign reads Mimi Sovereign, hair goods of all kinds. One flight up Della ran and collected herself, panting. Madame Large, too white, chilly, hardly looked the Soffroni. So here she went downside on the street and she stopped in front of the shop, and on the shop it is written Madame Sovereign, and she used to take out the hairs of the people, okay, in exchange of money. Who? Madame Soffroni. Okay, her name is Madame Soffroni, and her character sketch: large, she is large, she is too whited, she is chilly, hardly looked the Soffroni. Fine. Now 13th, will you buy my hair? Asked Della. What Della said to her? Will you going to buy my or purchase my hair, because I am going to cut it down? And what she says? 14th, I buy hair, said Madam. Take your hat. Y-E-R means here hat. So the meaning of Y-E-R in English literature, it means your. Okay, student, memorize, because in 10th standard English subject you are going to follow this word many times, so it should be memorized to you perfectly. So she is telling, take your hat off and let's have a sight at the looks of it. Just take out your hat, because I want to see your big hair. How much are they and how much I can cost for them? She is telling. Down rippled the brown cascade. Then what happened? She taken out her hat and she pulled out her hair, a pin, and her hair fallen down on the floor, and she taken an observation of those hairs. Who? Madame Soffroni. 16. $20, said Madame, lifting the mass with a practiced hand. Now she lifted the hairs of Della and she made an amount for her hairs. This will cost me for $20. I am going to give you $20, not more than that. And in exchange, you have to give these beautiful hairs back to me. Who is telling? Madame Soffroni is telling to Della. Now 17th. Give it to me quick, said Della. Okay, no issue. I need a money because I am in urgency. I need the amount very much. Just give it quickly and cut down my hairs, she is telling. 18th. Oh, and the next 2 hours tripped by on rosy wings. Forget the hashed metaphor. She was ransacking the stores for Jim's present, and she was nothing worry about anything. Okay, she was sitting so seriously on the chair, and Madam was cutting her hair, and she is only one intention, to buy a perfect gift for the Jim, for her husband. Okay. Now comes to the 19th paragraph. She found it At last, it surely had been made for Jim and no one else. There was no other like it in any of the stores, and she had turned all of them inside out. It was a platinum fob chain, simple and chesty in design, properly proclaiming its value by substance alone and not by meticulous ornamentation, as all good things should do. Now what she did, she taken the $20 from the Madame Sofroni and she given up here, and she went outside to the shop, and she went straight forward somewhere from the archives shop, where she will get a better chain for the golden watch which Jim belongs to and gifted from his ancestor. Now she want to purchase a platinum fob chain, which is simple and a very attractive to the eyes, and she purchased it, and she want to purchase it. Okay, and she seen somewhere in the showcase which is kept there in the shop. Then, as all good things should do, it was even worthy of the watch. Now she is telling, though I am purchasing it because it is too worthy for the watch, might be it is somewhere useful for the watch, then the Jim will also become happy if I give this a platinum chain to the Jim's watch, and the chain which Jim have, it became too old, so it should be changed by this platinum fob chain. Who is telling? Della is telling. Quietness and value, the description applied to both. Okay, so the quietness is there and even the value is also more, so the description is applied for both. Quietness, Della had a quietness for giving up her hair, and value, okay, platinum have a very good value. Okay, so both have a very equal weightage, so she is not bothering about anything, so she want to purchase it. $21 they took from her for it, and she hurried home with the 87 cents. Then what happens? Earlier she had 1.87 cent and she got 20 cent from the Madame Sofroni who taken her here. She given $20 plus one more dollar, okay, on $20, and she had left only 87 cent, and she taken that platinum fob chain and she went back to her home. Then with that chain on his watch, Jim might be properly anxious about the time in any company. Grand as the watch was, he sometimes looked at it on the sly on account of the old leather strap that he used to in place of a chain. Now what she is thinking, hey, very better thing it is. I did a very best thing. Now I will purchase this platinum fob chain and I will give to Jim. Jim will keep this platinum fob chain, okay, platinum fob chain on his watch, and he used to, okay, look over his watch for knowing the time, okay, what is the proper time for reaching on time, okay, and he will be never bother, or he will be never hesitated while watching the watch or a time somewhere inside the watch, and he will be never hesitated by the old chain which is there on his hand, because I am going to replace that old chain with the new platinum fob chain, a good chain for him, for his watch. So she is thinking about it, for purchasing a good chain for whom? For Jim. Okay. Now comes to the 20th paragraph. When Della reached home, her intoxication gave way a little to prudence and reason. She got out her curling irons and lighted the gas and went to work repairing the ravages made by generosity added to love. Okay, which is always a tremendous task, dear friends, a mammoth task. Then what she did? Okay, now she went back to the home. She stood in front of the mirror and she started seeing her hairs. Her hair was cut down in small pieces. Okay, she had half cutted hairs. Okay, and she is observing it very thoroughly, and she went into the kitchen and she started doing her remaining work, and she have something agony behind that why I had given this here, but she is not somewhere so sad because she had purchased something valuable to her husband. Okay, fine. 21st, within 40 minutes her head was covered with tiny, okay, close laying curls that made her look wonderful, like a truant schoolboy. She looked at her reflection in the mirror long, carefully and critically. So she taken the iron, yes, She taken the curling irons, she made it hot and she put it over the hairs, and now the hairs had been set up and she looked so good, okay, like a new school boy, because the hairs are short now. So she looks like a new school boy and she is happy now, and she is standing in front of the mirror and she is watching her appearance again and again there in the mirror. Then the 22nd, if Jim doesn't kill me, she said to herself, before she takes a second look at me, he will say I look like a Coney Island chorus girl. But what could I do? Oh, what could I do with $1.87? Now she's thinking, if Jim comes and he watches me how I looks like, then he used to say a chorus girl. Chorus girls means the girl who used to sing somewhere in the islands in the old mythological stories of the Christ, okay, and how you got the story of Solomon and the queens of Sheba. So she is thinking about it. Why Jim comes and he scolds me, or he loves more and more because now I look so pretty as earlier. So she is thinking about this and she have a double-minded. Okay, now comes to paragraph number 23. At 7 o'clock the coffee was made and the frying pan was on the back of the stove, hot and ready to cook the chops. At 7 o'clock she prepared the coffee and some eatable things to the Jim, because it is a time that Jim is coming back to the home. Then 24th, Jim was never late. Della doubled the fob chain in her hand and sat on the corner of the table near the door that he always entered. Then she heard his step on the stairway down on the first flight, and she turned white for just a moment. She had a habit of saying little silent prayers about the simplest everyday things, and now she whispered, please God, make him think I am still pretty. Okay, now she had prepared each and everything for the Jim, and Jim is coming out from his work, and now today Jim got late. What was the reason? Don't know. And she is waiting there in the home for the Jim, and Jim is coming, and she heard the sound of the footwears of Jim and she became so anxious. She became so worrisome. Now Jim is coming. Now he's called me for such a small hairs. Now I am not looking so pretty. So please God, make me so pretty, of the prettiest for the Jim. And he never scolded me. So she is demanding from the God that make me prettiest for the Jim, and he never scolded me for the small hairs which I given up there to the Madam Sofroni. Okay, so here you got one more character, Madam Sofroni. Don't forget to write it down. Okay, now on the 25th paragraph, the door opened and Jim stepped in and closed it. He looked thin and very serious. Poor fellow, he was only 22, and to be burdened with a family, he needed a new overcoat and he was without gloves. So now Jim entered in the room and he is serious. Okay, he is very serious person, and he is a 22-year-old, and in such a small age he became a family man, and he became so burdened, and he is very serious, very simple and the lucid person, and he had a gloves in his hand but not a overcoat. So he is somehow a very simple, lucid, a very conservative person like Della, and he want to save the money for her wife Della. So here the Jim came after all. He opened the door and both are there in front of them. So he is watching Della, Della is watching him. Then what happens in between? A fight will take place, a more love will come in between them, or there will be some good, a happy environment. So what is going there in the coming paragraphs? This is what we are going to learn in the coming video. So student, for the time being, watch this video thoroughly, understand it, read the stanza voice which is given there in the book, and understand each and every sentence. And what will happen next? Is Jim is going to scold the Della, or Della was being scolded by this Jim, or Jim will become happy, or Jim will present something very precious to Della, or what will happen? This is what we are going to learn in the next video. For the time being, watch this video thoroughly, make notes, write it down, all important points in the literature notebook, and have a proper glance of it. So student, for the time being, have a nice day, take care, bye bye.